If you've tried to remember your childhood and hit a wall, not just one memory, not just one year, but whole chapters of your life that simply aren't there, you are not broken. Your brain did something to protect you, and psychology has a name for what it did.
There is a mechanism in the human brain called dissociative amnesia. And before that phrase scares you, it doesn't mean something went wrong. It means something went right. When the nervous system of a child encounters experiences it cannot fully process, stress too large, emotions too complex, environments too unpredictable, the brain does something remarkable. It stores those memories differently, not erased, archived, out of reach. Not to punish you, to protect you. The science calls this memory consolidation under stress. What you call it is simpler. You just know you can't remember.
In this video, we're going to look at what that protection actually looks like and what it means about you that your brain chose to use it. Because the same mechanism that locked some memories away also built something in you that most people never develop. Sign 1. You remember feelings, not facts. The first sign is that your memories aren't stored as images. They're stored as feelings. You don't remember what happened at the dinner table when you were 9, but you remember the feeling of walking into that room. The tight chest, the scan, the immediate reading of the air before you sat down. Psychology calls this implicit memory, the emotional body memory that survives even when the explicit narrative memory is gone. Your brain protected you from the story, but the feelings are still there, and they live in your body, not your mind. This is why certain songs, certain tones of voice, certain smells transport you somewhere you can't name. You're not being dramatic. You're experiencing an implicit memory trigger. Your body remembers what your brain filed away.
Sign 2. You have strong emotions with no clear origin. The second sign is that you feel things whose source you cannot explain. A wave of sadness with no identifiable cause, a sudden irrational anxiety in a perfectly safe moment, a heaviness that descends without permission and lifts without explanation. You have looked at yourself in these moments and wondered what is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. What you are experiencing are emotional echoes, the residue of experiences your brain protected you from processing at the time. They didn't disappear, they got stored. And periodically, without announcement, they surface. Not as memories, as feelings that have nowhere to anchor. This is one of the most disorienting things about a brain that learned to protect you. The protection works, but the feelings still need somewhere to go.
Stop here for a second. If what I just described sounds familiar, not as something you read once, but as something you live, I need you to hear something before we continue. None of what we're talking about is a diagnosis. It is a description of what an extraordinary brain does when it is asked to carry more than a child should ever have to carry. What's ahead isn't a list of what's wrong with you, it's a map of how you adapted. And adaptation, even painful adaptation, is always a form of intelligence.
The third sign is that when you think about a specific period, a particular year of school, a stretch of childhood you know existed, it's simply not there. Not fuzzy, not vague, blank. Other people recall specific moments from childhood with detail. The color of a room, a conversation word for word, the smell of a specific morning. You have gaps, sometimes large ones. This doesn't mean nothing happened. It means your brain decided that what happened during that period was better kept out of conscious reach. It is a sophisticated act of self-preservation, not a malfunction, a feature. The technical term is childhood amnesia linked to stress, studied in developmental trauma research for over 3 decades. You are not the only one with years your memory skipped.
You are simply someone whose brain took its protective job very seriously. Sign 4. You remember being older than you were. The fourth sign is harder to name, but you'll recognize it. You don't remember being a child. You remember being small and already responsible, already watching, already managing, already aware of things that children aren't supposed to know yet. The conversations between adults, the weight behind someone's silence, the mood of the house before anyone announced it. You were young, but you weren't young in the way childhood is supposed to feel. And when you look at children now, genuinely carefree, unaware, safely naive, there's something you feel that you can't quite name. Something between recognition and grief. Because you remember that once you were supposed to feel that too. And somewhere along the way, you learned to skip past it. Sign 5. You feel like you're missing parts of your own story.
Other people talk about their childhood, and the story flows. For you, it's discontinuous. Fragments, moments, snapshots without a timeline. You know events happened. You may even have been told what they were. But the interior experience of them, what it felt like to be you in that moment, is inaccessible. Like watching a movie with whole scenes removed. Psychologists call this narrative fragmentation, and it matters. Not because the memories are lost forever, but because the story of yourself feels incomplete. Like you are trying to understand who you are using a chapter book with pages torn out. That incompleteness is real, and the longing to fill it is one of the quietest aches of a childhood the brain protected you from.
Here's what that protection costs. Not all at once. Quietly. Over time. It costs you continuity. The sense that there is a coherent you who began somewhere, moved through time, arrived here. When parts of that timeline are missing, identity becomes something you construct, rather than something you simply know. You work harder at self-understanding than most people ever have to, because you are trying to understand yourself with incomplete information. That effort isn't weakness, but it is exhausting. Here's what I want you to take from this. The brain that deleted those memories was doing the only thing it knew how to do, with more pain than it could hold. It was protecting you. And the person who grew up with those gaps, the one who learned to read rooms and feel feelings without names and carry weights without stories, they developed something in the place where easy childhood memories might have been. A depth of perception, an emotional vocabulary most people never build, a sensitivity to what is real and what is performed. Your brain didn't fail you. It made a trade, and what it gave you in return, as difficult as it has been to carry, is real. It is yours. And understanding what it cost is the first step toward deciding what you want to carry forward and what you're finally allowed to set down.
If this describes something you've wondered about yourself, but never had words for, tell me in the comments. Do you have clear memories of your childhood? Or are there years that feel like they belong to someone else? I read every one,